Hey guys, awesome you found this review. What I'm going to do today is something that I wanted to do for a long time but couldn't do because I didn't have a second camera. Right now I have a second camera. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to review my Canon EOS M3, which I've been using for quite some time. And actually I'm really excited about this little small camera because of its small form factor and for me it's like a really like a workhorse kind of camera, despite the fact that it's so tiny and compact. That's what I'm really excited about, so I really want to share this with you. So why don't we just jump in and do a quick unboxing, show you what's inside the box, and then in step 2 I'm walking you maybe through the setup process, the menu, and then after I showed you that I'm maybe going outside and do a few shots outside and show you how this camera performs with various settings and how you can get the most out of a camera like this. Short disclaimer, of course there's a newer version out there right now that you also should check out. I think the new one is going to be even better. But nonetheless, I just wanted to demonstrate to you that even the previous model that I have still works really, really well. And I take like this mirrorless camera all day over like a DSLR. I think the DSLRs, they just take up way more space and I really don't get that much out of it. So I like to stick with these mirrorless systems, and yeah, stay tuned and I'm going to share with you why I started to love this so much. So let's start with the unboxing. So yeah guys, the first thing that I want you to notice about the Canon EOS M3 is like how incredibly compact the size is. I mean, that is really like a really compact camera, and that comes in really handy. For example, if you're traveling around, you don't have to carry like a huge bag. You can put that in the bag easily. And also for all you people who think about vlogging, if you want to do vlogging, obviously a camera like this, it's very compact. So if you have a big heavy camera and you hold that in your hand all the time, it will become very tiresome. But something like that, I mean, you can look on my YouTube channel. I also have created a few vlogs where I walk around outside, and I think this setup works really, really well for vlogging. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if you don't take a DSLR, there are some limitations, like this is a different lens system and then you need adapters. But personally, if you are just starting out, and I think that's really absolutely no problem, because I found the kit lens works pretty well. And at first I thought, oh my god, probably I need another lens, so I have to spend more money on another lens. But right now I'm really thinking I don't even need another lens, because this lens works great for product reviews, for taking pictures, for shooting video, for doing my product reviews. It's like really super versatile lens. So right now I'm not seeing the point why I do even need another lens. Of course, if you have a lens system already, then maybe you need the adapter, or you need to stick with this old other Canon system. So with that, why don't we just look inside the box, see what we can find. They have some manuals, obviously. That's probably not so interesting. And yeah, obviously, I have used the camera already, so it's not a real unboxing. It's a little bit, but I just want to show you what's inside the box. And basically, you have a battery charger right here. And the battery charger is nice. It's really nice and compact. I've seen other manufacturers where the battery charger is like a little bit bigger. Obviously, you have that battery. Also, if you start using a Canon, one thing I noticed when I first started to use the battery, at first the battery life wasn't that long, so I was actually kind of worried, oh my god, why is the battery life so short? But after going through a few charge cycles, I really felt the battery life increased. So maybe you have to don't freak out if you feel the battery life is a little bit short. At first I really felt it became longer and longer and longer after I run it through a couple of charge cycles. And now I can even go, I mean, maybe you've seen that on my channel, I can really go and shoot like extended interviews, and that works really, really fine. And the camera also doesn't get hot. I saw that with apparently some Sonys, I don't exactly sure which models. If you, let's say you shoot a half-hour interview or longer, the cameras can get very hot. Let's say you shoot it in 4K or something like that. With the Canon, I didn't have a problem with that at all, so that's really nice. So why don't we just quickly put the battery in here. And guys, if that product review right now is not perfectly focusing, or please forgive me, because like I have like a different camera right now that I'm not really used to. I'm shooting this review on a Nikon, so here you can put in a memory card. Also, what I noticed, if you use a memory card, some memory cards are faster. And if you're doing video, try to get a nice, really fast memory card. I feel that is really nice. I'm not sure where you can see that, but that's a SanDisk Extreme Pro. So that at the time when I started doing videos with my action cam, this was like a really nice fast card. And I just put this in the adapter and then into the camera. And I really like this a lot, because if I create a big video file, especially with the interviews, it will write this really fast on the card. And that feels very nice and responsive. Build quality is really excellent. I like this. It's like a really like, feels like metal. It's like, feels very solid. Really everything, the buttons here, the way you can, these scroll wheels, if you want to change the settings, like here the exposure compensation or the movie mode or manual mode, that's really all very nice to use. Also, maybe I can turn this on here real quick. It has a touch display, so that's actually super useful if you want to change anything on the menu. For example, if I want to change the ISO settings, I just put on touch the ISO and I can just scroll down here and you see how the image gets less dark. And yeah, I mean, like I like the menu of the Canon way more than, for example, the Nikon that I'm using right now. I feel like this menu is way more intuitive. For example, I just pushed this info button and now I can see the sensitivity of the microphone. I can see that I'm in manual movie mode. Yeah, I mean, you can adjust a lot of these settings. And what I really love about the Canon is, like, for example, the color profiles that are in there, they work surprisingly well. I mean, like, I think Canon has done a really good job. And that's also something that maybe I can show this to you in a moment when I go outside. You can even tweak these settings, and basically what that does for you is it saves you a lot of time. Like, for example, if I would shoot this all in very neutral settings, then I would have to do a lot of color grading in post after I shoot the video. But the color profiles from the Canon, they are actually so good. Right now I'm mostly using this Faithful, and it works great. I have to do no color correction, almost no color correction in post, so it really speeds up the workflow tremendously. And let me tell you, if you ever start doing YouTube videos or product reviews, you will really notice that it takes a lot of time to make these product reviews, and every little bit that can save you time, like a good color profile, really you're gonna love it, I think. And other than that, maybe just to jump through the menu real quick, I like the way how these settings are organized. I mean, that's it might not look like much to you, but trust me, I'm shooting on a Nikon right now, and I did not like that Nikon menu. So I really like the way this is organized and also the way it looks. I find my way around these settings here way faster than I do in the Nikon, and those are little things. I mean, like, you only learn to appreciate, I guess, after the fact. And yeah, here is where I usually put like a wireless microphone I can put on here. And then also notice the way the screen flips. The screen flips like this. So I love this a lot, because let's say I'm doing a product review like I'm doing right now. I mean, you can see my setup here. The Nikon has a totally different way the screen works, and you see how the Nikon that doesn't work here. It kind of blocks it where I can put the microphone. With the Canon, I can just flip it on top, and then I can watch from here, and it works very well. And this wireless transmitter I can mount on the side somewhere here on my tripod fluid head. So guys, what I'm quickly going to do is I'm just going to overlay a picture on the video where I show you how it looks like with the Canon. And now we are back to the Nikon, and you see if I want to turn this here and I want to look up from down, it's like tilted to the side. And I just think the people who design these cameras, they probably are video guys, so they don't think about like the YouTube usage. So that's why these details are kind of like forgotten. So yeah, just keep that in mind. There's a little details that are kind of really useful to know. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go outside and shoot some video with the Canon, and then you're going to see how awesome this is. And before I do that, one thing I really also love about the Canon is like it is quiet. I mean, if I focus on something, it is really kind of quiet. You don't have like a mechanism that's like going crazy or here. Like that's also the camera that I'm using right now. I'm really struggling with the autofocus. So I kind of had to really change the depth of field so that the camera that I'm using, that doesn't have to hunt for focus all the time, because if it would look something like this. And guys, I just changed the focus settings, and yeah, it focuses, but the focus on the Nikon is way more noisy, and you really got to be careful with the focus setting on video, because I had like where I move around and the focus is always jumping. So the Canon doesn't really do that. The Canon works very reliably. It's not a fast autofocus on the Canon, but it works very reliably and it's quiet. So I like the autofocus on the Canon. Actually, I like it a lot. I really don't mind that sometimes the autofocus is a little bit slow, because I feel it gives like a smoother transition. And maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the microphone a little bit closer here to the Nikon, so that you can hear the sound that the focus always makes. And I found that like a little bit annoying. And yeah, guys, up to now, everything has been shot on a Nikon D5500. And maybe when I use the Nikon the way I would use my Canon, you see that the autofocus is constantly hunting. I make some movement and it should change all the time. And I found that it's kind of like annoying. Because like usually I want it to be in focus, yeah? And if it changes, it should be smooth, but it should not be like this constant motion all around with the focus where it's like sharp or not sharp. I find that the Canon does a way better job and it's quiet. And if you think about it, if the focus makes like some noise and you use the built-in microphone, your audio will be unusable, right? So the focus on your camera that you're potentially buying, the focus should work really well with video, and it should be quiet. And unfortunately, the Nikon D5500 was a huge disappointment, and that made me to appreciate my Canon even more. Besides the considerably smaller form factor and the flip out screen that flips up like that, and the easier to use menu. So you see, it really keeps adding up. So right now I'm just gonna go outside and shoot some footage with the Canon and maybe give you advice on how to pick the perfect settings for video, and then we'll be right back for a quick summary and conclusion. But guys, real quickly before we go outside, I just noticed maybe it's a little bit confusing. So the footage that you're seeing right now it's actually shot on the Canon, and you should also see this at point 3 here in the bottom of the video marked below. And before I switched the cameras right now, everything was shot on the Nikon at D5500. So basically, in essence, what I did, I compared these two cameras, and one major difference that you should notice right now is the autofocus should be very stable. The Nikon always has like these issues that it hunts for the autofocus, while the Canon is really smooth. I really like the autofocus of the Canon a lot. So with that, you have seen, you have started to see the Canon. And why don't we head outside? Because I think the Canon is excellent for shooting outside because of its compact size. I mean, the Nikon is kind of like a really big DSLR, and the Canon M3 is like a mirrorless. And like I told you in the beginning, I love the mirrorless because of the compact size. It just comes in so handy. You can put it in like a really tiny bag. Okay, then let's start to shoot some footage outside, and maybe I can also put some Nikon footage in there as well. So let's get started. So guys, like promised, a little bit outdoor footage of the Canon EOS M3, which is really like a small compact camera, and I'm walking closer and you should see how the autofocus performs. As far as I know, the EOS M3 is really like my kind of favorite compact little camera. So why don't I overlay a few shots that I just did here in the park while I talk, and then we jump to the conclusion. Like you see here, it really creates really nice images outside. I love the color profile, and yeah, I mean it's really the benefit of the Canon EOS M3, that you can walk around like run and gun and create beautiful images and video. And let's jump to the conclusion real quick. The conclusion that I see so far from all the testing that I did comparing the Nikon against the Canon is really that it absolutely wins. Wins in form factor, wins in the autofocus, and as you can see also the color profile right out of the box with the Canon is just like, I think, like really beautiful. Maybe you can see that in the background. The colors, the green is really lush, the colors pop, and that's why I would always choose the Canon, because it's just more comfortable. I mean, you have like a vlogging camera that you can carry around, but at the same time it's like almost like a 80D, like a Canon EOS 80D. People walking by doing sports. It's kind of healthy. I probably should do that too. Anyway, guys, I see you in my next video, and as a subscriber on my channel. And I hope you like this review. Take care.